What's good, YouTube and Twitch? We're live streaming right now, so welcome to the house, or you may already be here. And we're here with bad ban list wish lists, things that have actually been said within my chats or online, unironically, of things that people want to come back right now. We're gonna start with Blackwing Gofu, the tuner that summons 2 tokens, and they want it back to replace the other problematic needle fiber synchro stuff. The guy who is one of the most insane enablers in all the game that just became not okay by link summoning. You want him back right now while Halifibrax is running rampant on another level. This is an absolute no for me, and boy, this is just the start of the list on people's bad ban list wish list / also bad opinions in general. Let's get to a couple of the bad opinions. Linkuriboh is the problem card. This enables Jet Synchron to be the degenerate card by leaving in the way that if it was special summoned, Linkuriboh pops out and it can come back. Trust me. The cards that enable needle fiber, the cards that are the tuners, the cards that are able to bring themselves back from the graveyard, that's problematic. You could just normal summon, go into All Mirage, bring it back. It's not necessarily Linkuriboh, depending, of course, on what it is. Now, you also have a look at people calling Formula Synchro the problem card because it is a synchro, a tuner, and a machine. Well, first off, you would have had to use a tuner to make that, so you would have used the 2 bodies that could have made Halifibrax. But yes, I get that you can go up to this in certain routes, you get a draw, and it can go towards Auroradon. Absolutely not the problem card. Now, back to another bad wish list. Rusty Bardiche can come back. He did nothing wrong, man. He did nothing wrong. You know, with Rusty Bardiche, when you get to the concept that summoning a card is a +3, it's absolutely on another absurd level. And they even knew, when they're writing this card down, to put in its own limit to the card. You can't use this to be a link material. That's the final wording. You are stuck with him. He still provides you 2 advantageous downward arrows, even though that doesn't matter as much in Master Rule 5. But when you read this, during your main phase, you can send a Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the graveyard, they're all free advantage, and set a Phantom Knight spell and trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap, and then if a Dark Xyz monster, such as, I don't know, Dengirsu, if a Dark Xyz monster is special summoned to a zone this monster points to, and it also doesn't have to be Xyz summoned, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. This card is an advantage train, an advantage engine. I get that he's a little specific and has a limit, but boy, that's just not okay. This card's absurd, and it goes just too many places. Now, I get people's argument. It's been a long time. Let Ritual Beast do Ritual Beast things. I just don't want to sit there against a Ritual Beast player playing with themselves for 25 minutes to say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become somewhat faster, at least in terms of turns going back and forth and combos not taking an insanely long amount of time for the most part, except for Emancipator, Solid Rock's brother. I just don't want to be playing another version of this in the metagame and having to deal with, you know, I'm going to loop, set 5. Hope you don't evenly match me. Thanks, brother. I don't want to be facing that. Fairy Tail Snow is absurd. Gizmek Orochi was being argued about a bit ago, and it's actually faded itself out of the meta, but people arguing that this should sell the Chaos set, or that this could come back, that it's okay now, it's been so long. This card's recurrence has no clauses on once per turn, and it also offers disruption. This card is absurd, this card is insane, combos through the extra deck can leave it plenty of materials to activate at least twice. I don't want to hear about this coming off the list anytime soon, personally. Red Eyes Fusion should be banned. Dragoon is coming, and every deck's going to use it. I hate when every deck goes down the same route. I hate that too, but they're not going to ban the card that is the main selling point of the Megatons. Reversely, people have been saying since Dragoon is coming, there's only one monster that can handle Dragoon. It's Masterpiece. You are saying that you want a card back so badly just because something else makes it seem like it could be semi-okay to have around. Absolutely not. Masterpiece earned his place on that list. There are still other true Draco limits. I could get you arguing for Knuckles to 3. That's fine. We can talk about with how, you know, the draw cards have been hit, how it could be okay to get certain traps. Masterpiece is something that directly earned this place. I don't care if there was some banner at the 225th YCS that didn't happen, that they bothered to make, because Masterpiece has had banners for years at the YCSs. Billy Break wanted to bring that one home. This stays on the list. Mystic Mine is a fair and balanced card. Fair and balanced. Just play MST or Cosmic Cyclone 5. Had the non-searchable outs. Got it. This card promotes the opposite of gameplay. This card promotes sitting there back and forth, not interacting until the person with mine either gets there or messes up, or the other person finds their out. It promotes you go, Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm not okay with that. I think it's a terribly designed card, and it needs to go to 1 or 0, preferably 0. Now, a card that is at 0 for a similar reason is Jin, something that just locks people out of the extra deck. It doesn't even go all the way to what mine does. And this is over here, and somebody was like, you know, you were talking about Nekroz, you know, supporting Dragma. How about Jin comes back? Absolutely not. Again, the promotion of just not playing the game at all, I'm not okay with this. I think this card, as much as it looks like it deserves to be on the ban list, it deserves to be on the ban list. And Nekroz, they can get Unicorn, which is a Floodgate-like card that does something like this on a lesser level, and they can play Protect the Unicorn / use the Unicorn to set up their boards. Now, here's one that I'm actually going to take a little bit of a hot take on. Raigeki can come back to 3. I actually agree with you. Raigeki at 1 isn't even seeing play. Putting it to 3 I don't think will be all that almighty. It might pop into side decks in certain metagames, but right now, Dark Hole at 3. It's not popping up into the metagames, and I know that it could hurt your own board. That's not the reason why it's not seeing play. It's because this effect has pretty much been power crept over time, and at worst ends up realistically being force one of your opponent's negates. When everybody's doing Savage Herald, it's only going to force one of those. The boards are able to tank stuff like this, or even be immune to it at times. So Raigeki, I think it could be fine coming off the list and going to 3. Engage can come back to at least 1. Sky Strikers just won an online event, and I know that's not the most accredited thing, but it's still hecking impressive, and people seeing that got very passionate for this deck and wanted other pieces back, so it'd be easier for them to play to not have to use the technical skill and luck that it took Ryan Yu to take down the event. Pot of Greed with a searchable piece in it isn't okay in the game, and if you go to the flashbacks people are having engage into engage, you're gonna see why this card's banned and deserves to stay banned completely. And with Kagari at 3, may I remind you, you don't need the access to just getting this back for free out of the graveyard. Speaking of which, Pot of Greed can come back to 1, it's fine. Or one errata would make Pot of Greed okay. Whenever you have a card that you know when it's unbanned would just be put at 1, and would be played by everybody, and whoever sees it first gets a huge advantage, that's not okay. Look at the restrictiveness of stuff like Extravagance. Banish 6, and you can't draw again. Or Pot of Desires. Give up 10 cards from your deck banished face down, and then you say, this card's probably okay right now. Look at the cost of the others and continue to tell me that's okay. Absolutely not in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So many other games laugh at this card. This card is ultra powerful for whoever sees it first for that free advantage day. Oh, it would just be, you know, they activate their Ash Blossom. Yes, baiting Ash Blossom is very powerful and often is what Extravagance does. That grass looks greener. I used to be a proponent for this card coming back. I'm going to call that a bad opinion at this point. The ability to just mill down Orcus decks. And yes, it could be self-regulating in terms of, well, if you're activating grass and grass decks are a thing, then there's more grass decks. And then they start to restrict each other and you can build certain decks to not mill so much for them. Nah, it's just gotten to the point where the graveyard is such a resource toolbox that this card actually isn't that good in terms of coming back for healthy Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplay. Redox and all the Dragon Rulers should be unbanned. Redox has insane recurrence, also the Earth typing. I just don't want to imagine this in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You could argue for Blaster, title is close, but I just can't see Redox and all the Dragon Rulers being free at once. Redox is a bit insane. While Tempest hasn't been doing much, also they have the Dragoonity structure deck on the horizon. Wonder how that's going to turn out. And finally, self-destruct button. This would be okay in Yu-Gi-Oh! The entire point of self-destruct button is to troll and restart and reset, and now draws are an actual thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! So unlike old Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I get your argument, you're just stealing people's tournaments from them and putting them in a position to where, haha, you gotta draw now. Haha, you gotta draw now. Like, dude, you're just ruining people's days. And I get that mentality. Haha, I'm gonna come to this event I haven't played in a while, ruin a couple people's tournaments, as in get a couple wins and not mean to win. That's an okay mentality. I prefer the winning mentality, but there's different ways to play this game. I just don't like the thought of that being put into a card instead of a deck, and that's exactly what this is. But thank you guys so much for watching Bad Banlist Wishlist, along with a couple of hot take opinions, / one opinion I snuck in that I actually think is okay and I'll defend. What did you guys think of everything, and what's some cards you see people argue that you think absolutely should not be happening with the ban list? Instead of your wish list, tell me things that you've heard that you think are ridiculous from people actually within these ban list seasons, and that they think it's okay and you just know that would be terrible for the game. Oh yeah, I forgot Light Stage. Look at the previous comment section for that one.